can't wait. This thing is awesome. I mean, chopped, extended, supercharged Y62 Patrol. That's got to get you smiling, right?
Here we are in Byfields National Park, the best place to test out this rig and just see how it handles, performs, and compared to what it was when it was a little bit shorter and, well, it had a body on the back, but a different kind of body. Now, one of the things that I didn't want to do was sacrifice in my off-road ability, my forward driving, because I love doing the tougher tracks. Not too extreme, but just tough, fun tracks. I didn't want to sacrifice that, so I really didn't want a long extension. In talking to the team at ASG, they were telling me the Midi is just the perfect extension for a chopped Patrol that is going to go off-road. I'm going to gain good storage space. The rear wheel comes back so I can put load straight over the axle. It's just going to be a much better balanced car. My breakover angles aren't going to be anywhere too extreme. They're not going to change or sacrifice too much. So, after a little bit of chatting, a bit of to and fro with James and the team down at ASG, threw him the keys, and then 14 weeks later, have a look at just how this thing came up.
Really excited to be on board with this project and see the first of the Midis rolling through the factory.
G'day, Jake from ASG4x4 here today. We're at week 2 of Chris's Treads Patrol project car. Today we've just wheeled her in onto the hoist. We've cut the back off and removed the shell, and just in a couple of moments Luke's going to be cutting the chassis and extending the car, welding in the extension pieces. Before we get into cutting the chassis, Luke's under there now removing all the fuel lines and removing the fuel tank, as well as some of the custom exhaust pipes Chris has got on his Patrol. So he'll be a couple of hours there removing all of that, ready for the big chassis extension. Now, once Luke's finished removing all of the fuel tank and fuel lines and everything, he'll cut the chassis and we'll actually roll it apart on the 4-post hoist here. And then, yeah, he'll be putting inside all the internal channels inside the chassis for the chassis extension. Once all those are in place, the vehicle then comes back together and is all welded up. Then he'll be sort of sanding it all back nice and neat and painting it ready for the guys down in the conversion bay here, and they'll start building up the back wall of the vehicle. All the boys here are pretty excited about Chris's Patrol. Yeah, this will be the first Midi Patrol, as far as we can tell, ever built, so we're all pretty excited about the outcome.
G'day, my name's Tim. I'm the supervisor on the floor here at ASG4x4. Okay, so week 4, we've just received Chris's Y62 into the conversion bay. We've just finished the chassis, so now it's come over to here. We're going to take care of it, put some sheet metal on it, shape it a bit more, turn it into a nice dual cab. Okay, so first things first, when it gets in the conversion bay, is we weld some tray mounts on the back, so you can fit a tray. And those mounts also have to be custom fabricated, just like everything else we have to do, just so it's ready to go for the canopy. Then we start with the rear wall frame. Then we can sheet the rear wall. Then we have to radius those edges on the outside of the car. That can be a bit tricky. After that, we'll put a window frame in. And from there, we'll do our roof roll. So that's pretty much taken me 3 days to do that. Now I'm up to the quarter panels, which is the most trickiest part. The Y62 is a bit tricky. We don't do a lot of them. Now, the radius edge is a lot longer on a Y62 than a 200 series. So it's a whole new ball game. The very last thing would be the wheel arch toolboxes to suit the chassis extension. We do pride ourselves in our quality here at ASG 4x4. We try our best to make the cars look factory and not just being cut. So they will end up looking like a nice dual cab 4-drive. It's just paying attention to all those lines, getting the lines to match up. Nothing's out of place. By the time it gets out of the paint shop, it's looking Mickey Mouse.
Now, throughout the process, we were out there just checking out how he had built this car. The meticulous process, the attention to detail, the craftsmanship, the team there just know what they're doing.
So yeah, we pretty much buttoned up on the conversion bay. We've put our premium aluminium tray. It's custom made, it's 1500 long, and it seems to suit that chassis extension really well. So now it's over on this post. We're going to lift it up. I need to jump under and just tidy up a couple of things. And then you'll be getting some epoxy and some sealer, getting it ready for the panel beaters, and then off to the paint shop. All the attention isn't at the back of the car, it's also at the front of the car. What we've done is we've taken the original bonnet and put a nice 79 series scoop on there.
That's not going to be just an any old scoop just wasted. We've got some fun ideas that's going to make this car just run so much better, because you probably know from the last video, this is supercharged. I do have a bigger fuel system on it, so I am pumping a lot of horsepower. And the best thing I can do is get my intake colder, because it's air to water cooled intercooler on that supercharger. So I'm going to use that scoop to my advantage for that engine, and I'm going to get more power, more economy, everything out of it by keeping those intakes as cool as possible. So to get my intake colder, well, I need to run more fluids and I need to run a secondary radiator.
So we're probably looking at a few more weeks yet. I'm just going to spend a little bit more time at the paint shop, and then once it comes back, there's all that fit out, electrics, fitting the tray and canopy, all that sort of stuff. And then Chris will have a whole new beast ready to hit the trails.
Y62 Patrol's ready. Oh boy. Only 10 weeks without a car. I haven't seen it yet, I've only seen photos. I've been living vicariously through Shannon and his video editing skills and photos I've been getting. Wish I had to put a jumper on, it's still cold up here in Toowoomba. Oh yeah. Hey, good yourself? Look at this. I mean, photos just don't do this thing justice. You can't take this thing off-road. That's impressive. So the other thing that was pretty exciting, Mike from Tag Tow Bars, well, he was following on social media the build, and he hit me up and said, I want to build you a custom tow bar. Then this thing, it's not just any old tow bar. He has built this insane bar. 2 recovery points on either side, extremely well braced. We've drilled out a couple of captives, made them bigger. We've actually braced from the side and the under of the chassis onto the back. But it just, the bar just flows with the canopy. Beautiful box section. The back end of a chopped car, I've always loved. They've got the beautiful sort of flat edges, the nice lights at the bottom, and some accessories. This just adds to the back end. It sort of finishes it off real nice. It's also the other thing I like the way that he built it. He lifted it up as high as he could go, which means I've got an insane departure angle in this thing, not compromised by the tow bar on the back. Now, one of the things I've always been nervous about and super conscious of is the weight in this car. The GVM of a Y62 Patrol is 3.5 tons. It does not take long to get up there with such a heavy car. The moment you put bar work on, sliders, bash plates, supercharger, lockers, all the fruit, all the fun stuff. So I was really keen to get a GVM upgrade, and it hasn't been the easiest thing because the Patrols aren't as well supported. They're independent front, independent rear. Now the team at ASG have worked with their engineers and come up with a GVM upgrade that gives me 4.2 ton, which is just mind-blowing. They've custom made some arms in the back and they are absolutely stunning. Powder coated in the gunmetal grey of the car. Like you can powder coat them whatever colour you want, I'm sure, but I went gunmetal grey. They look stunning. Super heavy duty, beefy, everything you need to get that GVM upgrade. So now when I travel, I feel a little bit more confident in carrying weight. I still don't want to carry a load of weight with me. I don't want to go up to 4.2 ton. I don't want to max it out. I just want to know that when I do have a lot of gear in there, I have my recovery gear, that I am, within spec. And I think it's something that's quite often forgotten or just neglected. So when you load up your car, you get going, you get on the road, you are safe and within spec. So in the lead up to this, we were trying to give Barney, and I was promising Barney a week to build these sliders and the exhaust system. I may have only given him 24 hours, but I tell you what, in 24 hours, he has delivered. I needed new sliders because the car's been extended, so the old sliders just weren't going to give me the protection. And Barney had an idea to make me some awesome sliders for this car. So his team on a Saturday kicked in and just welded me up these sliders, and they are just stunning. Like, for them to knock that out, it was a long day, a lot of work, and it really is just a true testament to just quality craftsmanship, guys that are really good in their craft, building me those sliders. They then tweaked out the exhaust. Now, he already had built me a pretty specky twin 3.5-inch exhaust out my Kmart bar last time. We've kept and retained a fair amount of that. We've just tweaked it a little bit just so it looks a bit different on the back of this canopy, and it's come an absolute treat. Sounds amazing. I'm completely blown away with the finish. And now, having driven it here to beautiful Byfields, driving it around this amazing state forest, I am really surprised. I don't think I've sacrificed anything. It doesn't feel heavier. It's not got this massive turning circle. I think the turning circle is almost on par with where it was. It balances really, really well. The power's there. And I think, I genuinely feel it hasn't really gained much weight, even with the small fit out done in it. I'm really extremely happy. I've put a brand new ARB bar on. I've got the soulless lights, the light bar on the roof, and then the base rack. I was trying to weigh up my roof rack options. There's some amazing roof racks out there, but when I saw how low profile that base rack is, it just worked perfectly. When we worked it all out in line with the canopy, it just flows so well from cabin to canopy. This is just one of those cars that every time I'm getting in it now, I've only been driving it for a week or so, I'm absolutely loving it. Now, it's only beach tracks here, but at Byfields, these are beach tracks, rutted, soft, wombats. I mean, they're just cut up. So it is really, really pushing the car. They're not bush tracks, but we are going to take this onto a few bush tracks and just see how it goes up some of the tracks that I've done before, and it'll be great to get a side-by-side comparison. So when I went and picked this up from ASG, I was very curious because I had done a lot of searching around trying to find out how much weight is actually being pulled off the back of this car. So that back shell, that back section of the car that was taken off, they went and got the forklift under it and weighed it. Now, just remember, it's only the back, I'd say quarter, maybe a little bit more than a quarter of the cabin. No hood liner, no plastics, no speakers, no wires, no rear door. It literally is just a shell, no rear door, and no glass. This is no glass. That was 148 kilograms. Now, when you think about that, I haven't actually weighed this yet, and I'm gonna go and weigh it. I've only just got the car back. I don't believe that the tray and canopy has added any additional weight to the overall weight of the vehicle. When you think about the tray and the box itself that's gone on there, the Kmart bar that went off, which was just super beefy, really well engineered, very, very heavy, I reckon I've netted out almost identical to what it was, and it drives exactly like that. There may be a little bit more weight in the steel that's down the chassis because they've obviously put a big C-channel in and welded it in there for strength and rigidity, obviously what you need to do to make it super strong. And because of the amount of horsepower this has got, the guys at Driveline, when we were working out the tail shaft, they went from saying we can do a one-piece tail shaft, because it was only a very small extension. We went from doing, originally the plan was to do it as just an extended one-piece tail shaft, but because of the power, the Driveline team went, no, we need to put a center bearing in and split the drive shaft. So we've had to run a bracing across from chassis to chassis and the center bearing. So there's a fair amount of steel being welded in there, but you still might only be talking 50, 60 kilograms of steel. And you just don't feel it, and it's down low. I will be surprised when I get this on some scale, because I think I'm gonna be about the same, but I've gained a whole lot more storage. Like, I can't fill this damn thing. It's just massive on the box in the back. It's gained, well, I think looks, because the back end of the Patrol has always been the ugliest part of the car, and this thing just looks amazing. I've gained better balancing. One of the things that frustrated me with this car was when I do bigger hills, because there was a lot of weight in behind that rear wheel with the tyre, the Kmart bar, the fridge, the drawers, the recovery gear in the wagon, I found the front lifting like a lot. With the wheels that further back, the fridge is now over the wheels, my battery's over the wheels, my power's over the wheels. This thing's just so much more balanced. It's just cleaner, crisper, it's not throwing me around. It feels great to drive. I mean, I can understand why you'd want to go a 650 extension for all the storage, for all the touring. But for me, with just myself, my wife, touring around, towing the boat, to have all that storage, and I can still take this down to Land Cruiser Park, Scenic Room Adventure, all those areas and hit up the tough tracks. And I think I'm gonna be almost the same as what it was like before. So from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and do some more modifications, some more changes. This build is only just starting. I thought I had finished my last build. I've spent 3 years building the Patrol, getting it to where it was, front lockers, rear lockers, links, lights, everything. And then I just basically just completely wiped that slate clean and started to build this. And all my ideas and thoughts are starting to run wild. I cannot wait till you see the fit out that we have got planned for this. The build is part 1. Part 2 is going to be the fit out.